Okay. Hi, I'm your host, Oraldo, for It's Tejano Time.
And I'm Nemo with the Honey USA.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
Nemo, you have a lag now. Or was it me?
Oh
Do you see
no,
that?
I don't know.
Okay.
One, two, three,
Okay, you're
four.
good. You're good. I can see you. Okay. You know what? All day, in my class, I told my students, I
You know
said,
what? Really, you
oh
really
yeah,
want to
wait a
banter
second,
right now
second,
when we
second.
have
I
greatness
I
of Gary
told
Hobbs on the radio.
wait. I told them I'm a little giddy. I'm a little nervous today.
Well,
I was going.
yeah,
Then they asked me why. I said because I've got a legend on the show today.
and you're
And
still taking your time.
okay, okay. I'm still nervous. He's like one of my favorite artists that I I got introduced to back in the '90s because you know me. I wasn't born and raised in Tejano music, but uh,
We've all heard that story.
Gary Hobbs is one of my favorites. Of course, my favorite female artist is
We
Stephanie.
don't want. Can we just really?
All right. But can we take care of some business first?
Yes, please.
Okay. Now, if you want to get a hold of me or Nemo, but Nemo doesn't
It's the
answer.
same email.
Okay, but subscribe to us because we don't get paid. We try to give you the best. You know what? Today we're giving you the best of Tejano, and so subscribe and tell all your friends and click the subscribe bell and notification bell uh, and
Blah
get.
blah blah.
Hey, come on, Nemo.
Come on, man.
All right,
Three
now
three
if
minutes
you want to
already.
get a hold of me,
Oh, here we go.
you can contact me at buddy@itstehanoTime.com. And Nemo, come on, say it
It's
for what?
thehanotime at
No,
gmail.com.
no, no. Say yours because
No,
I want it
Nemo6753 at Yahoo.
at yahoo.com. Okay. I haven't said that
Yeah,
in
nobody
weeks.
has.
Okay. But like I said, I am so excited. And you know what? Let's bring in.
Let's get it.
All right. Okay. Here is our guest, Gary Hobbs.
For y'all, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're coming out loud and
Okay.
clear. Okay. Before the
Hey,
show, everybody,
yeah.
go ahead.
What bet did you lose to have to come on here, man? I mean, how did that work out? How did they finagle you to come on our show? We have two viewers, and you still came on. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, he's doing us a favor. I owe him big time.
Absolutely,
No,
big
no,
fan.
it's great to be on. I was telling Buddy, I'm just a phone call away. I'm in the. Uh, I've had the same number for 30, 40 years, so
I
the
didn't know
office
that.
and I'm like anybody else. I'm performing on the road. I'm doing several things. Everything to do with Tejano music, of course. But it's good to be on y'all's show. It really is. Thank you for having me on.
No,
Well, thank
thank
you.
you.
And
Thank you so much.
like I said, I've been nervous all day, and I've done research because I don't want to, flutter and just not have anything to say because this is my cheat pad right here. All right, and
What
It's your
Nemo,
kind of
CY.
prepare.
It's your CYA list to cover your ass list.
yeah.
Exactly, that's exactly what I do.
I'm just curious to know what kind of research do you have to do on Gary? I mean,
Well,
really,
okay,
honestly.
Gary doesn't know, but I've been out of the industry for over 20 years, and I just got back like a year or two ago, and so I I didn't know who Signal was back in the day. Or I didn't know about Lucky Joe. I thought it was a joke. I said, "Oh, Lucky Joe. Okay, that's a good, funny joke." And that, oh wait, that is his name, and all that. So I've been out of it for 20 years, and
That's funny. That's funny, buddy, because I don't remember what Tejano Music Award it was, but at the awards back in the '90s, it's just
oh yeah,
they had up to like 40,000 in one of them and
oh yeah,
32,000 stuff like that. But when you're out on the floor on the so everybody's kind of like stopping you to say hi and take a photo. Back then there was no smartphone, so everybody had a
right,
little Polaroid or the old cameras and stuff like that. But I remember people stopping me, and I wanted to get to the table, and then they introduced somebody, and they just I mean I could just hear the roar, and I started to hear it. I didn't turn around who it was, and I'm thinking to myself, "Eh, this. Wait a minute, who is that? Like, I mean, at the same time, I was thinking like, man, they sound great, but wait, but that's not Tejano, but it was Intocable. I
oh
Oh,
had
yeah,
never heard I had never heard of Intocable, and when I'm hearing them, I'm going like, God bless these boys, they're like tight, they're like they're badass. But
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
but the first thing I said to myself was, wait a minute, what are they doing here? Like this, it's
Yeah.
like Tejano Music Awards, right? But it's funny you should say that you don't know who Signo is, and I had the same thing back in the '90s when I didn't know who Intocable was, and look, they're just
Oh yeah.
like icons now. You know,
Yeah. And
they're
I
fantastic.
They're bigger than Signal.
yeah I heard that Signal didn't even consider themselves Tejano when they like they got an award. This is what I heard that they said, but we're really not Tejano like that.
That's a show for another day
Yeah,
because
that's
Yeah.
true.
because I could go on. You know, I'd always somebody will ask me that, and when they put me in a corner like that, like, well, do you think Signo or whoever is Tejano or not? And I tell them, I think you need to ask them
Yeah,
Yeah.
because beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, and if you think they're Tejano, then they're Tejano. You know,
I think they're
because
Yeah.
Tejano.
there's no changing their people's minds, but you know, back when I started music, I mean, I've always been keyboard orientated, and if you had horns, it was considered Chicano,
Right.
and if it was just accordion, it was called conjunto. I'm sorry, a four-piece band, a conjunto. And so how they start naming things, and then it's called Tejano, and so I don't know. I've said this many times. I don't know what they're going to call it next year, but now it's gone into a Nortec sound, and it's called regional music, and then we get into the awards and the Grammys and all of that, and it really it really upsets me sometimes because we have instead of putting music together, we have kind of put everything in compartments now. You know,
Yeah.
if your music can't compete out there, then that's on you. You know, it's then you got to change something up, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
lucky
You know.
for me, I've been doing Tejano music 40 years, and I continue to be keyboard orientated, and so I just guess it's God's grace, but the work after 40 years. But I experienced that at the awards too. I didn't know who Intocable was, but
Yeah.
I know who Signo is.
Yeah. And oh, hey, you know what? Before I forget, I want to say congratulations on the Grammy nomination. That
Thank you.
Yeah.
It
rooting for you.
It's been a long
that
time
that kind
coming.
of that kind of felt biblical. 40
Yeah.
years, 40 years in the desert to
Oh
come out
wow. Very nice.
and then be nominated after 40 years. Like, well, I appreciate it. It felt. I mean, it's nice to have that as a resume, but to me, it's like I got to go work this weekend again, and
Yeah.
but it
I'm
was
sure it's
nice.
not gonna be your last.
And I'll say something that I think the CD was. I'm never one to toot my own horn. I'm the last one to pat myself on the back. I'm my worst critic, but I thought the CD in a whole, they're all original songs, and I thought it was solid. And it's a all team effort. Everybody from producers and engineers to our musicians and songwriters. It was just a collaborative team effort, and I thought it was rock solid, man. Sin Fin. And anybody wants to uh, deny that to me, well, that's too bad. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never thought of it while we were recording it. After the fact, when I start studying it and we finished it, I just thought it was solid. So we're grateful that we got nominated. And now we didn't win, and that's another subject. That's another TV, another show for another week.
Yeah.
Well, the future's
But
still.
thank you, Sin Theme from Freddie Records. We got nominated for Latin Grammy. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, you just recently got attached to Freddie Records, like within the past couple years.
About a year and a half ago. No, I
Okay.
think I think in April or May is going to be almost 2 years now. I think.
Okay. So, how's that going? I mean, I
Well,
think
good.
I took. Go ahead.
The honeymoon's been pretty good. It's almost over,
Okay.
but we got to get ourselves back in the studio and start recording new stuff. And I'm looking forward to it. On the last two CDs, I wrote like 13, 14 songs combined on the two CDs,
Uh huh.
and I'm at a little writer's block right now. I got a couple of melodies in my head and a couple of titles, but we've been looking for material. So anybody listening to us, reach out to us. We're in the phone book. His name
Yeah.
Bass,
Right.
Gary Hobbs,
Yeah. Definitely
GaryHobbs.com.
call Gary. Don't do like instant message for that. Um, he told us earlier that he doesn't look at his instant messages on, I guess, Facebook.
Yeah,
So it's
I don't
best
I
to
don't
call
look at
you.
Messenger. a lot of people use Messenger. I don't. We got hacked. We got hacked twice, and they were posting things that, like it was coming out of our office and stuff. And
Ah.
but so you change passwords, and you reboot, of course. But I stopped using Messenger, and then people come up to me and tell me, "Man, I've been sending you a message," and I go, "Well, dude, I mean, my office, I got a recorder. I may be
Yeah.
prehistoric, but I have a recorder there,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
so."
Is it the one on your desk or is it one in on the comes with
Well,
your phone service?
it's certainly not the one under my pillow, but it's the office.
Hey, now you used to have your own record label for like 20 years with your son, right? Uh, uh,
Amex, AMMX,
Amex. Is it
Amex.
still? Is it? Did you dissolve that, or is it your son taking it over? Or
No, I no. I have a really trusted um, um, family of musicians that they've approached me, and they want to keep writing. And uh, let me go back.
okay,
We've been blessed that we've used like 8-10 writers out of Eagle Pass, Texas. When you look at the size of Eagle Pass compared to, I mean, I could name you 8-10 writers in this area that we use from the '90s, and this side of the '90s too. But I've they've approached me that they have some material and stuff, and they know somebody that wants to come into the business, and so they've been trying to have a meeting with me and see if we could, record somebody new with Amex. But I don't want to do that just of yet, because I don't want it to interfere with our anything to do with what we're doing with Freddie, because
yeah,
we need to get back in the studio and put out a new CD. That's for sure. But that's something that, I mean, Amex is still active in the sense that it's, let's just say, maybe it's just dormant, right? It's not
okay,
closed, but yeah, we were independent for 20 years. And I've mentioned this a couple of times, that one of the main reasons that I went to Freddie Records is that, man, all of their artists were putting out a new album and new music, and their single was getting played.
right,
And here I was, and I don't want to elaborate on artists, but every artist that was throwing out a new CD, their single was there. And so I thought, previous to my 20 years, I had already been previous to my 20 years at Amex, I had already been in the business 20 years or something like
right.
that.
You're established.
And yeah, and then I go to radio stations, and we're throwing out singles, and we're not getting played. And we all know the game, but I thought
Yeah,
I didn't think they were going to play the game with me, because I have close friends and
right.
personal, and the majority of it didn't come through for us. That's just the truth,
Oh wow.
so I harbor some feelings with that, but again, I like to remind them, business is business. So I get
Wow.
that, right? But
Okay.
that's
Wow. I
why
mean,
one of the
really,
main reasons.
a lot of politics right now, huh?
Well, no, politics have always existed.
Yeah,
There's
yeah, yeah.
politics
But
everywhere.
Always.
again, at your level, you would think that they would welcome you. I mean, they would be
Well,
waiting
yeah.
for.
Well, I had been at Hacienda, and then Hacienda licenses out to RCA International, CBS International. I was with SG International, which was Luis Silva, a Hall of Famer. He's passed on with the Lord, but Luis Silva knew everybody in radio.
Yeah.
But then I went to Capitol Records and EMI, and then I was at Sony Records. So
Right.
so let's just say I know a few people,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Absolutely. You've been in the
But
industry.
they were the ones taking care of us,
Right.
getting on radio. But I thought my friendship was gonna pull, if it's good music, then give it a shot. I mean, and we were
But didn't
talking
happen
about
that way.
other artists. I mean, I'm blessed to say that, at Amex we had the hometown boys on several records, 4 or 5 of them. We had the Crazy Pimps on 4 or 5 of them. We had that guy Gary Hobbs on 8, 9, or 10 of them. We had Ram Herrera on one. We had Pio Trevino on one. We had Fama on one. Stampede on one. And radio wasn't helping us, man. So you know i i,
Is-
I still harbor feelings about that, but it's a business. I get it. And that's why when Sinfin came out on Freddie Records, I said, I'm gonna put my head down. I'm just gonna keep doing what I do. I'm gonna work, and whatever they schedule me to go promote, I'm gonna go do it. And man, I would have done the same thing at Amex, but they wouldn't open the door to go do promotions. Now podcasts and stuff like that have really taken off the last decade or so. but and this is an excellent form of reaching out to people, and it stays recorded so they can
Yeah,
go back
that's
and
that's a
analyze
plus.
things.
It's
That's a
an
plus.
Yeah,
archive. Yeah.
but at Freddie, we I didn't worry about, hey, are we gonna get played? You know, I've seen their track record and stuff. I was worried about the songs. There, I wrote 6 out of the 12, and so all of it is original. Don Freddie Martinez wrote 2 songs. Ernesto Cervera and Johnny Davila wrote other songs. Hector Gutierrez, our producer, wrote 1 song. So it's all original material, and so that's why I'm happy for them. Uh, I'm proud of them, and I'm happy for the band and Eagle Pass that we have, at least we have a project out there that got nominated for the Latin Grammys.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you feel about internet radio? I mean, you don't get much as far as royalties whenever they play your music. I mean, are you okay with
Well,
that? It's
it
just,
depends.
well, for the most part, I would think that.
Yeah.
You
Like,
you got to know the game.
Yeah,
But I think it's like anything else. Just remember when I was growing up, I'm in Eagle Pass, and so I'm about 142 miles southwest of San Antonio, and we used to listen to KTSA. It was a 55 on the dial. It was AM, and the
okay.
signal was, I mean, we could hear it, right? Oh, but when FM starts kicking in, you kind of want to hear FM, and so then all of Tejano music starts picking up FM stations. When we started losing some FM stations and they go back to AM station, it's like, you know, now when internet just first came in, yeah, I can see everybody doing their hoopla, and but there's analytics to everything, and you find
Right.
out that a radio station is talking the talk, and but they're not walking the walk, and they seem to be happening, and they have like 78 listeners, and but I'll tell you what, you have to service them the same as you're servicing an FM station, or a big, um, same thing with a festival and a club. To me, it's, I got to service both of them, right? But internet radio has been catching on, and I think it's just, sign of the times that it's going to get bigger and bigger.
and you've always, I mean, you seem to be that professional. No matter who it is, you're always like very, very open to them. You answer everything and you talk to them like you know them. Like, I mean, you're talking to buddies, calling his name and stuff. I'm thinking, hey, y'all know each other. But I'm just saying, you're very professional, and I think that's you. You know, you've never been out there in the scene where you known as the party guy. You always been very, very quiet kind of guy. And I don't know how it was back in the days when you looked like a porn star. Maybe back then you were crazy and stuff, but I just know
Not
you.
not that you were looking at porn, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no. But
All the
yeah,
hair changes in
yeah,
back in the day.
those are cool days, I'm sure. But yeah,
I,
I
I
mean,
wouldn't I wouldn't qualify for that.
but very, very, you never hear anything other than, about you. Always been very professional with, with everyone and stuff. And I think that says a lot about you. I mean,
I appreciate that. I'm sometimes on stage. It's very intense for me. I got to learn how to lighten up. But see, once you're there, you only have one shot at it. And
yeah,
you're either gonna make people happy and entertain them, or you're not. And then that's kind of rough. Like when you're trying to do your best show, but for X reasons, the audio's not working well, or
Right.
or maybe the lighting went down, or things that are out of your control, kind of like messes with you on stage. But so on stage it becomes really intense, man. I'm singing, but I'm thinking like 5 10 things, and I'm looking at people, their reactions, and I'm looking at the door, and I'm looking at people, I'm counting heads, and a lot of things sometimes, right? But when you're on a podcast or on radio, it gives us so much, it's so much easier for me, and so I appreciate the professional stuff. But I mean, when you're breaking into the business, you're butting heads with everybody. I don't care who you are. I mean, I am so amazed that today's artists on social media, the young acts, they speak so well of each other, and there's a camaraderie, and they're all friends and brothers, and that's pretty cool.
It
But I
wasn't true
think
back in the day.
that when you go back to the day, it was bone on bone and tooth on tooth,
oh, there were
because
fights amongst the bands backstage. I remember
oh
some of
yeah.
those days.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, but
Grupo
but you
Vida.
learn, they say with age comes experience, and hopefully with experience comes a little bit of wisdom, and I think the older vets, they understand the game a little bit better. Business is business, and you kind of put things to a side. Sometimes you just go and do your job. But back in the heyday, it, there was chaos between bands,
Yeah.
and most of us are friends now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The ones that survived are friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you always gave me a Rat Pack vibe because you wear those jackets and like old school Vegas, a very classy act, and that's one of the things I liked about your show. You were very professional, like Nemo was saying, and I get that vibe from you. Is that something you tried to emulate or tried to?
I uh I When I was a young boy, my mom used to sing in Piedras Negras, Coahuila, and here in Eagle Pass, Texas. She would sing on La Rancherita del Aire radio station across the river, but she would sing at these with a trio, very little with a mariachi, but with a trio, and so she'd sing at some weddings and some quinceañeras, stuff like that. And my mom would take me to all those performances, and it's a true story. But she sit me in the back with piece of cake and Coca-Cola Mexicana, and I tell
The
everybody that's why I'm
best.
so fat. That's my love for bread and stuff. But I would hear my mom sing, and a lot of things that my mom used to do kind of rubbed off on me, and I didn't notice till it was too late. But about an hour before the show, my mom starts humming. She starts humming, and I thought, I always hear my mom humming, but she was going over melodies or stuff, and I can only think that she was going over lyrics. And then about 10 minutes before we're leaving out the door, she's putting on her perfume. She used to wear Estee Lauder, that original
Nice.
Estee Lauder. So I wear that. I smell that Estee Lauder,
Uh-huh.
and it reminds me about my mom. So about an hour before the show, I'm humming. You know, I thought I was just maybe trying to warm up. I never warm up, but and a couple of minutes, 10 minutes before I get on stage, I'm putting on cologne, and my mom used to love to wear sequins and stuff like that, and I thought it was only Elvis, Barry Manilow, and
Yeah.
me, but
Uh-huh.
if you look at a lot of the bands in the '80s, they were using sequins and stuff, and
Yeah.
the glitter stuff, and
Oh yeah.
maybe I'm old school, but I'm
For
into
sure.
I'm into the leather too, so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
So
like it.
what's the cologne of choice?
Two of them Prada for men, and uh, emphasis on the men. And there's another one, Club de Newt, and it's intense. Club de Newt,
Okay.
and then it
I don't
says
know.
intense.
Nice. All right.
One's high dollar, and the other one's
Yeah.
the
What?
everyday stuff.
Yeah. So you don't do the Old Spice or Brood or none of those.
No, high karate, Russian leather.
Nice. Those are the
What's
those
that?
are
That's
Dwar
70
Dakar
stock.
or something like that? What's
who?
That's
that?
70 stock.
Dracar?
Dakar? Yeah.
Dracar? Oh yeah. No.
Okay.
Come on,
What do
man.
you wear, Nemo? Do you ever wear cologne back in the day?
Back in the day, you had like Polo or Aramis. Now it's like
I think
it's Creed
I think I
or
did
Tom
Giorgio
Ford or
or
something.
Armani or
Yeah, I
something
think so. That was
or
something
something
back in
like
the
that.
day. It's
Polo
cool.
was always like a high school scent. I remember
Yeah.
that. Everybody was wearing polo, but you know,
Everybody was wearing.
everybody wore polo. It got to
Mm.
okay,
No se
but
bañaba.
I have several stories with you because I was telling you back in the day you were on the show and one of your interviews that I told you earlier that I listened to Bumpers, I listened to Lawrence's Cubo podcast, and I listened to the Three
Big
Amigos.
shout out to all of them.
Which one
Yeah,
do you
shout
like
out to
better?
They've been
Which
everybody.
very
one, out of
cool.
those
They've been
three?
very cool with me.
Out of those three, which one do you like better? You can rank them.
Sorry,
Rank
sorry.
those three
You can rank
first.
those three. You like Bumper? Which shows do you like? You
You
can
don't
rank
have to
them.
Uh,
answer that.
I
Shh. Quiet.
personally, I would personally choose hanging with Gary, but
Oh,
Oh yeah.
that's
Oh,
true.
fourth season. What?
season 4 coming soon.
That's
right
true.
after, right after I lose about 8 pounds or something.
Uh,
But how do you do it? I mean, you've been on the road for the longest and stuff, and you don't look like you're heavy, but I'm sure you know what you are. But I'm just saying, how do you do that whenever you're on the road? Do you exercise at all, or is it just all diet, or
I used
just
to, I used to, I used to do a lot of exercise and walking, stuff like that, and semi jogging and
yeah,
stuff. And
because
yeah?
you
and
don't dance on
lately,
stage.
no, I don't dance. I kind of sway. That's
Yeah.
what I do. But but I'll tell you from COVID uh, to now, it's kind of like decreased on the exercising and stuff. I
Yeah,
sometimes I get fatigued and stuff like that, but
yeah,
I gotta start kicking that out
that
because
happens.
I'm weighing about 198 right now, and I
Oh
haven't
wait,
been.
and you're tall
Yeah,
too.
how tall are you?
You're like
I'm
6
about
foot.
six. Well, I was
So,
about six. I was 6 foot. I maybe 5'11", 3/4
No, I
now.
mean
yeah,
But
I know
so
you're over 6 foot, right? Or are you
so
exactly
198
six
is
foot?
not bad for 6 foot though, right?
sorry.
It's not bad at all. 198 is not bad
No,
for
that's
six
not bad.
foot guy.
No, but I was always so thin, and
Yeah,
so that mid-ridge bulge is just, oh my God, I can't shake it off. But
I
I
would
gotta
yeah.
work
kill
on that.
somebody to
I gotta
be
work
under
on it.
200 pounds right now.
I
No,
mean,
in college I was weighing like 225, so that was so I
oh,
was pretty gordito then, but I had more mass on me, but
Yeah.
that was in the heyday.
You know,
back in the
I
day.
I never I okay. I bumped into you. Well, let me tell you one story. I was going to Vegas Tejano, and I was in the on the plane, and and I was people were talking and stuff like, yeah, I'm going to Vegas Tejano for the first time, and this lady in front of me turned around and said, "You're going to Vegas Tejano?" And I said, "Yes." And she got to be one of my favorite people that I go to visit. She's always there at Vegas Tejano, and her name is Mariposa,
Oh
and
yeah, she's from
and
right here.
she is like
Marian
one,
Richarte,
yeah,
Mariposa.
and she is one of your biggest fans, and
Oh no, she's more
oh,
than
she's
that.
family,
She's
She's
family,
very
right?
dear friend. She's in our inner circle, and my
yeah,
wife and her they can talk.
yeah, and I got
But yeah,
so lucky.
we're blessed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got so lucky that I met her on the airport because she introduced me to a lot of people that I would have never known at Vegas Tejano. So my first experience at Vegas was awesome for Mariposa. Thank you, Mariposa, out there.
Shout
I'm
Shout
out.
gonna
out Mariposa.
yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna send her this show to give her to make sure I gave her a
Hopefully
shout.
she's seeing. She's tuned in. I mean,
Well, she's not a big social media person, so
she's
I'm hoping she is. She in our chat?
no.
I should have emailed. I should have sent her a message. Hey, Gary's gonna be on the show tonight, but I forgot. I told you I was nervous, and so I wanted to make sure I mentioned Mariposa like that. And
Shout out
there was
Mariposa.
So you
okay.
do a lot of stuff in Dallas, right? With Frank and stuff, and you're doing a big show in Mesquite with Josie, right? Or for
Yeah,
them,
the solar thing,
the Solar Fest, the Hana
I don't
Fest.
have Solar Fest. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
and and you do real good here, and you do real good over there. Where which one do you like better, Dallas or Fort Worth? Come on, man, give me something.
No,
Neiman likes
no,
to cause drama.
No, it's
no,
just
no, 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 no. I'm good with that. I put it. I never distinguish between both, and that's the honest to
oh
God truth.
yeah, I can
I
see
just
that.
go it's the Dallas Fort Worth
Yep, it
Metroplex for
is
me, baby.
TW.
You know,
Yep,
it's.
Yeah.
good one.
I mean, I'm good in Duncanville or Grand Prairie or Irving or Fort Worth. I'm good
Yeah.
as long as it's Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex. I'm good, brother.
All
All
right,
right.
good one, good one.
Okay. Now there's another question I wanted to ask you through my research.
Uh-oh.
You said you wanted to get into acting, and you said you met Selena Gomez's father,
Well, Rick,
Rick. Okay.
I've been lobbying for that. I told him I can be her grandfather on anything,
Yeah.
and I've been acting like I can sing, so I know I can act. You know,
Yeah. So have you been
you
contacted for
know,
any parts lately?
no, no,
No scripts?
no
Not yet.
scripts.
Uh,
No,
okay.
it'll probably be another 40 years before I get invited to
Mhm.
something.
Okay.
That's
Well,
that's funny.
there. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I met Selena, but I don't want to take away from it right now. Let's just
Selena
go.
Gomez.
Yeah,
Oh wait, you have a story
Well,
about
good
that.
for you.
yeah. Let's just go.
I
Okay.
get to see Rick every once in a while when we've been at Texas Live and stuff like that, or the Levitt Pavilion.
Yeah.
Where else did I see him within the last year or so? And he's such a humble guy, down to earth, and but I need to tell him he needs to score me,
Okay.
a
Yeah.
script or something.
Yeah. There was a lady that comment in the comments during one of the interviews that I think she's part owner of the Pura Vida Awards, and she said that
Brandy, is it Brandy
Brandy,
Lopez?
And I think she said she gets some parts, and she was gonna submit your name to.
Yes, I remember something like that. Brandy's been involved in acting and stuff, and she said I had a part, but I haven't heard
She
from her.
hasn't
So
pulled through yet.
she's very talented, Brandy, and such a nice person. Just a
You,
great character.
you need a better manager.
No, no, I had my load of that.
Okay,
I'd
maybe you need
rather.
to reach out a little bit more out there.
No,
Who is
we're
it? Is
good
it?
like this. My inner circle is my son and my wife and
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
and that's what we do. You know.
Is your son does any singing or anything? Is he
Gary Lee was
musician?
on the road with me for about 10 years, playing some congas and accordion,
Oh,
and and then he got off the road. His children were growing up and stuff, so he still books, manages most of what we do, the festivals, going out of
okay.
state, going into Mexico, and my wife and I take care of a lot of the weddings, the quinceañera stuff, the private events. But he's been off the road for a while, and when he got off the road, he told his mom, "Well, if I get off the road, then you got to go on the road." And so I thought I was gonna have like my own personal
Assistant.
provider. But
No, no.
it
It's,
didn't turn out. I have a CEO in charge of, and financial consultant. I have to apply for a loan
no,
and
no.
advance
Uh,
money.
yeah. All right. Well, good. Well,
All
good.
right. So,
I'm glad having to see you as well.
yeah, so I think my throat's getting a little sore. I need some tea. I said, well, you know where to get it.
Uh-huh.
Well,
So does Gary Lee did he get the eyes, the hazel eyes as well, or any of your kids?
No, none of my children, none of my grandchildren, and maybe it's a curse or something. But
Where'd you
you
get them
know,
from? From your mom?
no, my father has blue eyes. My sister's got blue eyes, and I'm the only one that came out kind of green blue. You know.
I've I've got greenish eyes also, like
There
that.
you go. Well,
Yeah. So it's something we have in common.
I just have red eyes.
Red eyes. Well,
yeah, I
we all
get a
get
lot
red
of
eyes
those too.
sometimes.
I haven't slept well in a
I mean,
Oh,
it has to be hard for musicians to sleep because they're always thinking of songs, and then if they're not thinking of songs get stuck in your head. Am I thinking right, or is that about right?
Yeah, it's when it comes to songwriting, I usually get a melody before anything, and so I'm humming a melody, but then I may be stuck on a verse or a phrase that kind of I may have just seen it with somebody, or I remember I went something through that. My I've been married 44 years and 3 years of high school sweetheart. So
Ah,
my wife and I
congratulations.
have been in up and down. We grew up, in life together, and we went through a lot of highs and some lows, and from finances to stuff and a half, and then having children and now grandchildren, and we're still together by God's grace. But so I may remember something like when we were dating, and 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 I try and capitalize on the verse, but I
oh,
usually go to a melody first, and when it comes to songwriting. But I could hear something back from the 70s, and then it's on me like all day long, and musicians are like that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Okay, now I always thought that the best songwriting was done before social media because, and this is my reason, because back in the day, you didn't have your cell phone to you had a lot of dead time, and you didn't have TV on the bus and stuff. So what could you do but a lot of thinking about writing songs? But now, if you got some dead time, people are always like scrolling, and they don't make time to write songs or develop that skill. I'm thinking
I
the newer
I think
kids.
there's some truth to that. I mean, my wife now has become a semi nocturnal because of our traveling, and she's always been one of those to get up really early and taking care of business stuff. And when she started getting on the road with me, well, a lot of that changes because we're up to like three, four discussing things, or 2 o'clock, and then either I'm driving or I'm not driving. But we get home, and so now we're coming up to the parking lot at 7:38 in the morning, stuff like that. But back in the day when there was no social media, I kind of cherished that alone time at night. It's just by myself, but it gave me a lot of time to think and write and just plan out things. And now it may be my age and maybe but you kind of like want to go to the phone and you're still studying. You're looking at the business. You're looking at venues. You're looking at I get to see sometimes what other bands are doing, but I don't harp on that very much. I don't look at 2-minute videos of music by somebody else. I don't like to get I don't like to get what's the word I want to use? I influenced by somebody else's music and stuff like that. I'm very like that. And I listened to a lot of 70s and 80s, you
Yeah.
know, pop music and a lot of 70s, 80s, 70s Chicano music. I'm a huge Latin breed, World Gestures fan. I've always said that my influences were Jimmy Edward. He's the man. He was the man. Jimmy
Yeah.
Edward, Alberto Gallegos, and David Mares. And so I love their music, and I'll listen to something like that or 70s, 80s. I'm a huge listener of pop music back then. Chicago, Earth, Wind and Fire, Eagles,
Yeah.
Hall and Oates stuff, but I don't like to listen to a lot of Tejano and stuff because then it influences me. And when I'm writing, I don't want to write lyrics that kind of sound, you know, similar to something else or music, and I don't want to, be arranging something, and I spent the whole 2 hours, and then I realized, hey, wait a minute, I heard this before somewhere,
Yeah.
you know. So I keep away from those things, and there's a flip side to that story that in the 70s you're listening to Chicano music. Well, the 80s, I started in '83 and I started to record at Hacienda Records.
Okay.
And so when you start to record and you're on the road and you're expecting to be heard on the radio and you're not getting played, but that other band is getting played like every hour on the hour, and that's really a blow to egos, and it just makes you work harder. And so late '80s, early '90s, I wasn't listening to radio at all because of fear of not hearing that our song was out there, right? Now,
Right.
when we did start to chart and start to get play, we listened in once in a while. And the only thing we were doing is that we were in town and we wanted to make sure that radio spots were being played and stuff like that, right? But it's a blow to the ego, and it sticks in your mind when you're that radio station, the more popular radio station in town, and they're not playing your music, and that's
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 horrible,
pretty
man.
crappy.
Yeah.
I remember one time you put a single out and then somebody else did. Y'all had a single out the same song at the same time.
I know what you're saying. Well, there's so many stories to those things,
Yeah.
but and even it even happened to me. I'll give you the example, but you're probably talking about Te Vas a Acordar.
Yeah.
Beto Ramon and Laredo gave us the song Te Vas a Acordar. So we got into the studio, we recorded it, we turned it in. And so I want to say I heard that like 3 4 weeks later, Elsa Garcia turned in, and she had Te Vas a Acordar. So that kind of like bummed me the wrong way with Beto Ramon, and he said that he must have given to her, and no, you did or you didn't.
Yeah.
But then Emmy knew that we had turned it in first, and so uh, that's not saying that Elsa didn't have it or whatever, but we had turned it in first, and so we had kind of capitalized on going with the single on that with the video, and that's where Te Vas a Acordar went on to it did some damage on some radio charts, and
Yeah, it did
and
good. Did good for you.
and the flip an example of that, one of our writers, Carlos Castillon, descanse en paz, Charlie, passed away at the age of 33, and he was coming out of Tallahassee, Florida, coming to Texas, and he was driving a truck, and he had an accident, and he passed away. But Charlie wrote a lot of our songs. He played keyboards for us a lot of years. He wrote Corazón Ardiente, Por Favor Corazón. Oh my God. I mean, 12, 15 songs, right? And in about 2001 or two, he was like coming in and out of the band. He was starting to make a local band here, and we had taken care of most of the publishing on his songs, and so he sends out a song to David Ligarza without telling me,
Ah.
and he also sent a song to Rodeo without telling me. La de Rodeo was Esta vez. Roel was singing on it with
Roy
Rodeo.
Martinez,
So
yeah.
we own the publishing on that. And then Que Lastima was sent to David Lee, and I think they had Markel, and they recorded it. Well, I had it on the CD that I was about to release, and I'm independent now, and so I had to call, and tell them, hey, can you wait on this because I'm about to release it as a single and stuff like that, and we own the publisher on Que Lastima. In fact, Cari Karina from Eagle Pass, she cut a track Que Lastima, and she invited me on it, and I collaborated with her, and but that was written by Carlos Castillo, and so those kind of things really do happen in the industry,
Yeah.
but I blame sometimes songwriters that they'll send them out to everybody, and if one of them hooks, then they were good, right?
Yeah.
But don't be giving it out to 10 writers and then show it to me and tell me that I can have it, and
Right.
you know and then you have things like that happen, right?
Beto Ramon wrote a few songs, right? He had a good
Oh, a
catalog.
lot of them.
He had a good
On
catalog.
our song, on our repertoire, te vas a acordar de mí, donde hay fe, uh, ni volviendo a nacer, su cuerpo es lumbre,
He was a big,
devuélveme
yeah, big 80,
por
yeah.
su propia luz, a lot of songs.
Now, do you write songs? So do you ever give other artists your song? A song that
Uh,
you write?
I, 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 I never did. I started to write a song, um, cuando eras mía, cuando eras mía,
Oh,
tarara. and I started to write that song because I think I had seen Markel Ledesma Mark somewhere, and he was singing with Grupo Alamo at that time, and I started to write that song, and it just stayed in the, halfway until I recorded it about 3 4 years ago, and that was something like, I don't know, 15 years ago or something like that. But
mm,
I've never attempted to write. I think it puts a lot of pressure on thinking of their style and what's going to fit them. Because so when I write something, I guess you can kind of put it down as very Gary Hobbish,
Okay.
but because I'm writing
T-shirt.
for us and our style, and
Yeah.
was it you that was touring with an artist you were trying to push? Was that somebody that you do or something that you do help other artists? I thought it was a female that you were.
well, when we started Amex Records, I'm
Okay.
going deja vu here, but deja vu. When we started Amex Records, our first artist was Laurita Aguirre. She's from Del Rio, Texas. She was just a teenager. I mean,
Yeah.
she was like 13 or something, 12, 13. And so we did 2 years of managing her and trying to get her out there with a CD, and she was doing fairly well. But there was such a change in Tejano music back in those years that all of a sudden a lot of things were going more uh, regional, more norteño-ish stuff to
Mm.
break in a new artist. It wasn't anything to do with her, but to get veteran musicians to to come on board and back her up was very hard.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah.
even today, look at all the solo artists in the industry. I mean, there's galore there, and I'm really proud of all the female singers because I think it's harder for a female to break into this industry, any industry really,
Yeah.
but in entertainment in Tejano, and I see so many young female singers, and some of them do have bands, but there's a ton of artists, female and male, and they don't have bands. They're not touring, and but I had that very same problem when we tried to launch Laurita Aguirre.
Mm.
Let me ask you this: how, because this has been asked in several episodes from other people, how do you feel about track artists in Tejano? Like you said, a lot of females have a hard time putting together a band. Some real good musicians, and like like a couple years ago, I was watching Isabel Marie at Fanfare, and I was looking forward to this because I've never seen her perform live. And then when I heard her perform, the band ruined it for me like that. And I was going, I
How
literally
how so? How so?
because it was like the accordionist was off and so you could just tell it was off because I hear the track in my head and then I'm going, wait, this is way off. And I'm not a
Well,
musician.
if they're playing live over recorded stuff, that's being done by J Lo and by
Yeah,
Bruno Mars and by everybody else. But in our
right,
industry, I think it's starting to be a little bit more acceptable that they play live over pre-recorded stuff, and I think they're not our audience, at least not my age or a bit younger or a bit older. I don't think they're used to seeing a vocalist up there with nobody in the background,
right.
and but uh, speaking of Isabel Maria, I think she's phenomenal. There's so many young singers that
Yeah,
uh, I don't get to see in our circuit now. Now I'm an older artist, so I know they have their own venues and stuff like that. But I think it's being accepted a little bit more. But if you really study that, you'd be surprised. I don't want to mention names, but you'd be surprised how many veteran bands are doing that. They're playing live over pre-recorded, but
Joe
but they're
Lopez.
they're pretty they're pretty exact on it. They have more experience with it. But
Yeah,
you
right.
know,
yeah.
But
It was,
okay, because our industry doesn't like they like live bands, and
yeah, and they love to dance. And
yeah,
that's the most important thing for me. I come from the ballroom era, but
hmm
but now more and more there's audiences that, I mean, they'll pay a $100 ticket and they're just standing there, like, watching the band. And I mean,
yeah. It's
I
always been
always
kind of different.
well, there's a huge difference in that. I mean, to me, basically, I mean, I appreciate when they hire me in a venue like that. And to me, I'd rather see people dancing, having a great time. Now,
yeah,
doesn't mean that they're not having a great time sitting
Yeah,
there. If I went to go see Earth, Wind and Fire or Chicago, uh, well, at their age, but I'd be sitting down,
yeah,
in a seat watching a show.
yeah,
But I don't consider myself at all a show band, or I consider myself a dance band. We try and make people dance. And Tejano, there's just something that I can't shake it out of my veins, the Tejano ranchera. And
yeah,
it's what I love. And some people say, well, now he's doing cumbias. No, I always did cumbias
yeah.
from the
You always done
80s.
cumbias. Yeah,
I
yeah,
always did cumbias,
yeah,
and I got more cumbias than most artists. If they just research it.
yeah.
But
Absolutely.
yeah,
I didn't say they hit, but I got a lot of cumbias. But
You have a couple
but
of hits.
we like to make people dance. And
Hmm.
I think people want to get away for a while from the hectic schedule, and and go have a good time for a while, because they got to get back to reality. But and maybe get some cardio work in. But
Yeah,
to make them dance and have a great time. And if one of our songs makes them reminisce and takes them back to 19 whatever, then good, we did our job, right? But
yeah,
we don't usually do anything free. Yes, of course, I live off of music. All our musicians live off of music. We're not a part-time band, and
well,
people
I
work
know
during.
something you did for free.
yeah. I
Because
mean, how do you do the
wait,
award
wait, wait,
shows?
wait, Nemo.
Teaching
You've
me.
been
Yeah,
asking a lot. Let me
yeah.
ask you real quick. Remember, it's the buddy show. Okay,
Yeah, I'm the
I
sidekick.
I told you I was like gone for 20 years, and I came back a couple years later, a couple years ago, and the first uh, Tejano club I went to was Frank T. It was a fundraiser because he got in an accident, and they were saying, they named some artists, and they said a surprise guest at the end. And I was trying to think, wow, okay. I was thinking, well, it might be Shelly because Shelly was there. I said because Shelly's up here a lot, and then Jay's here a lot, and then later on I was going, and then I found out they said it, Gary Hobbs. I go, oh my God, Gary Hobbs is gonna be here tonight for a benefit for
Yeah,
Frank
that
T.
that
All the way
that was
from Eagle Pass to here. I was
that, that
going,
was
what?
that
I
was
was
free.
shocked.
That was
Yeah,
free.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I was saying you do something for free. It was
I
the
just
first.
I just hate it when they use the F word with us, man. It's like,
The four-letter word. Hey, speaking of getting away, tell us about your cruises, man.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that.
Uh,
the Gary Hobbs Cruise number 6 is coming
number six.
November.
That's
Number
crazy.
6.
Number six.
Yeah.
and they've all
You
been
just okay.
successful.
You just had
November.
one. You just had one in February. So how did that go for you?
Uh, Again, I don't toot my own horn, but we are the mother of mothers now. We are,
Oh,
Y'all sell
and
out.
we had 600 people on board, and
Very nice.
that's no hype. That's just God's grace, and people, and the ticket is that they want to dance.
yeah.
And now we got the other guys that do cruises. Now they all want to go to Royal Caribbean because they got a
The
ice
dance
skating
floor.
ring that they turn into a dance floor. So we have something like a 60 feet by 40 feet dance floor.
Oh,
So
that's
now they
big.
caught on, and now I get it. It's free enterprises, capitalism. I get it. Now
Yeah.
they're trying to make their cruises, but we've been blessed that we've done five. Uh, a new ship came in, Harmony of the Seas, beautiful ship, Royal Caribbean, and number six is coming on board November 9th through the
To the
17th.
17th.
It comes out of Galveston. It's going to Cozumel, Nassau, Bahamas, and Coco Cay, Bahamas, and debe ligarse musicales. Los musicales are Ram Herrera,
Yeah.
Gary Hobbs,
And
special appearance by Cesar
Caesar.
Omar, Hector Gutierrez, Johnny D, and we're trying to see if we can add another artist or two. But
Yeah.
you
I
know,
noticed there's not a female artist on this.
on this one, not yet. We've always
Not,
had a female artist. You know,
okay.
we've taken Jessica Sanchez. We've had Shelly Lares,
Did
Stephanie
you have
Montiel. Let
Stephanie?
me tell you, Stephanie Montiel just like killed it. I I don't
she
I
always
don't want
does.
to. I mean, my wife and I are so. We always knew, and I always knew. I always knew she was a great entertainer, and I told
Yes.
her once. I remember somewhere, I don't know, Midland, Odessa. I told her once, and I wanted to be a positive thing, and I didn't know if it came off the wrong way, but I told her, pound for pound, I think you're the best female. But and I thought, I hope she doesn't think her weight or her height,
Oh
but
no.
that's an expression like
Yeah,
pound for
Right.
pound. But because I think, and I say this with the most respectable way that I can say. I think she's very underrated, and
Yeah.
but
yeah,
I already knew she was a great entertainer. I already knew she was a great singer. But just having her on her cruise and the way she conducts herself, she is a professional, just an A plus. She's an
Yes.
elite, and
absolutely.
and I wish I could take her on this one. It still may not be too late, but Bahamas is an 8 day cruise when we've always done 7 days, and so we just had one in February, and we saw the opportunity to go to the Bahamas. We haven't had the opportunity to take our Tejano cruisers to the Bahamas, so we took the chance, we took the risk, and we're already up to like 250 people registered. But we do
Nice.
have a website, GaryHobbsCruise.com,
Yes.
GaryHobbsCruise.com, and there's all the info that you may want
It,
to look at.
if you can't get Stephanie, let me throw a female artist into the ring here for you. Jenny B. It. Uh, I'm assuming you heard of her. She's
I've heard the
awesome.
name. I've heard a single or two.
Well, I think you should consider her if you're going to have another female. I mean, there's lots of female artists, but I think Jenny B would be an excellent addition to your cruise.
On our podcast, we always have a segment, today's Tejano and segment, and we always bring out new music, and it doesn't matter if you're a veteran or if you're a brand new artist. Hey, if it's well recorded and we think it's Tejano, then we play it. But we played Jenny B before. We think Monica Salivar is an
Yes,
excellent
Oh,
singer
that's another
too.
good
she's
one.
awesome.
Monica, there are so many singers out
Yes,
there that oh my God, I'm proud of them, and the day that we're gone, us older artists, I think we're in good shape with all the young artists that are coming up the pipeline.
yeah. When we first started the podcast, I talked about the Selena effect when she died back in the '90s. I started the show Tejano Time back in '96, the year after she died. She died, and those little girls are now growing up, and a lot of them were influenced by Selena. So I say it's the Selena effect from back in the day because they're growing up and So she had a big impact. And this, I think, is the decade of the female Tejano artists. Because back in the day, you could probably barely name five. Now, I can name 15 off the top of my head.
Name
Well,
them.
if you want to talk about the Selena effect, just look at that Carol G paying tribute to her. You know, it's
Yeah.
like,
On
and
her.
so these young Tejano singers, you whether they're teenagers or they're in their 20s or 30-year olds, but they had a, let's just call the ultimate example, a mentor that they can learn from, and how she conducted herself. And
Yeah.
Selena was that, a professional A+, you know. But these young singers can relate to her because now they're on the road. They're trying to get out there, so now they know just how hard it really is.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people think that, I mean, Selena made it look easy, but it wasn't easy for her. And you know, but you're right. There's a lot of young up and coming singers that there's more female singers. I'm really proud of them. That, you know, they're doing great.
Yeah. I have lots more questions. We're definitely have to have you back soon, and because I'm not going to go through all this. I told you this is
Yeah.
our show. Nemo's got a bedtime,
And
and we have a
we've got
lot of
people.
people in the
Yeah.
chat. We
Yeah.
normally do it like 45 minutes into the show, but I just couldn't shut up myself.
Yeah.
And I wanted to share some of the stories that I've had with you back in the day. I'm okay. I'm gonna I'm gonna put some like D from Three Amigos. I'm gonna put a tape. Okay. Okay. Oh, I got stickers by the way.
D
Uh,
D Burleson, right?
yeah, D.
Yeah.
And let's go through some chats real quick. Hey Nemo, you're gonna have to help me. Cause I don't have my glasses on, uh, so I don't want to. Okay. Well, I guess I'll say. Okay. Luis says, "What's up, Gary? How's it going?" Mart. The notes we've got never gotten to get through the entire history of the show. Okay.
Because he always takes notes, and very
Yeah.
seldom does he ask any
Yeah,
questions.
I always take that. I do more research and I never get through it. All right, Janie. Hey, from Conroe. Alfredo. That's Janie's husband. Alfredo is
Hello.
actually he has. Are you okay? He has a group called Grupo Fijo, and his granddaughter is Allie, which is sings with Shelly's label, I think, or Shelly wrote some songs for her. And let's see who else we got. I'm trying to get Andy S. In college, I don't know what that
Dang,
was.
he was 355. We were talking about how big.
Oh, he
He was.
lost.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
Yeah.
all
College.
right.
Wow.
Let's
you're a
see
heavyweight.
Yeah.
TDK.
Pound for pound.
Yeah. That's a greetings and salutations, gentlemen. Gary does a great job representing the 830 Texas, the Bush country.
Rush.
He's my sweetheart, Rocio's favorite artist.
I'm sure he's a lot of female favorite artists. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I was gonna say
Especially with that
at
porn star look.
fanfare. At fanfare, I was gonna say yeah. Stephanie is one of my favorites, so I had to go there. But you were playing the same time Stephanie, so I decided, you know what? I'm gonna go see Stephanie for the first 3 or 4 songs. Then okay, I walked real fast. I didn't run. And then I went to go see you for a while. And then I said, okay, I got some footage of you. And then I said, I enjoyed seeing you. And I knew you were going to be on the show recent in a few weeks. And then I went back to Stephanie like that. But I just,
No, no worries, no worries.
yeah,
I probably would have done the same thing. No,
yeah.
the fanfare was great. I was I was disappointed at first that, you know, we were going to be at the Civic Park stage, the big stage for Saturday night, and I thought that was going to be epic. I really thought so.
Yeah,
And
it
then
rained.
the weather came in overnight, and something with the they said there was something with the audio, and then somebody said it was, you
A
know,
lightning bolt.
I don't know what it was, but then so they were gracious enough to change us to a different stage, and we had a great response, and I want to thank everybody that was with us, you know, for that show at fanfare. And I hadn't been in fanfare in several years. I mean, I always did fanfare many years, and I mean in 40 years, but I did several years, and I several years I didn't. Then I came back for several years, and then several years I didn't again. And so I hadn't been back at fanfare in quite a few years, and I was really looking forward to it. And I had a great time, big shout out Frank Salazar, and everybody from the TTMA, Robert Arrayano and Bino, everybody in
Yeah.
staff. It was great, but I was really looking forward for that Civic Park stage. I thought it was going to be epic.
Yeah. Well, I was there when lightning
Maybe
struck.
they'll give me. Maybe they'll let me next year.
Of course. I don't know. Hopefully it'll be. I kind of liked it at the
I
Hemeth
did too.
Park.
I did too. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, because there's room to walk around and stuff like that. But I enjoyed. I was glad to see you. I wanted to see you. I wanted to see Stephanie. But there was one artist that I wish I was looking forward to it, but I couldn't go because of the radio gala. Was Joel Nava. I hadn't seen him
Oh
in
wow, that's an old one.
decades,
Yeah.
and but I couldn't go because it was on a Thursday, and I wish I had seen him too. But I'm really glad I saw
He's a
you.
great singer. He's a great singer.
Yes,
But I haven't
and
seen him in a lot of years, but I remember him breaking into the business. I guess it was the '90s, and man, he's got a voice. He's
Yeah, solid
yeah.
voice. Yeah.
But I wish I had seen him. Like I could kick myself. I should have left the gala for a little bit and rushed over there, but I didn't. But okay, let's go back to the chat. Nemo, you see any ones that?
Yeah. TDK. Do you haven't?
Oh, I didn't say. Oh, I already
Oh,
did
okay.
that.
TDK.
TDK.
Okay.
Uh, let's see, Luis.
The
How about
70s
if
and 80s.
you want to read them,
Says,
Nemo?
wow, those 70s and 80s pop music are so nostalgia. I miss them days for sure. Yeah, who doesn't? In all reality, those were the days. Back then, we were strong. We had the market. We had FM stations, and it was
Well,
just a stronger time.
music was music. If it was good, it was gonna get played. And speaking of that '70s '80s sound, I mentioned that on another show. I don't remember. I rarely remember where I was last week. That's just maybe sign of old age. But when we did this last CD, Sin Fin, on Freddie Records, I wrote 6 songs, and when I sat down, it all starts with Hector Gutierrez, the producer. He's a dear friend of mine. He's out of Robstown. I met him in '83. He became our keyboard player, and then he started. And he was our music director for a while, and does a lot of our arrangement stuff, produces a lot of our stuff. But it starts with Hector coming to Eagle Pass, and we start looking at music, and so I wrote this song, I wrote that. Hector, I kind of like this. This is what I've been doing on piano. Blah blah blah. He hears me out, and then after he hears me out, he elevates everything. He adds arrangements or fills, or he starts to produce it, right. But I told him, look, it's funny because uh, we were saying earlier that I didn't know who Intocable was, right. And then, buddy, you said that you didn't know who Signo was, but
Right.
because you were out of the loop. Well, I didn't know who Bruno Mars was until I heard that song. Um, oh my God, Uptown Funk.
Oh yeah.
Uptown Funk. So all of his stuff prior, which now I studied it a bit. I mean, he's just phenomenal, right? But but I didn't know who Bruno Mars was. So then I studied, Uptown Funk, and I started studying, his 24K stuff, and I thought, my God, this guy sounds like new. It's refreshing, but it sounds retro, and
Yeah.
and that's exactly what we try to emulate with Sinfin. That's not borrowing from Bruno's book. Everybody's trying to do that,
Oh
and
yeah.
especially veteran artists like me. I mean, I want to take them back to the '90s, and those that remember the '90s, and but I want to make them dance, and but I want to make it sounded new,
Yeah.
and I think that Hector Gutierrez, approached it like that, and I think he nailed it. And to me, it sounds very retro, very Gary Hobbish, but a lot of new sounds and stuff. And I mean, we're very keyboard orientated, and sometimes people hear keyboards now. That's so old fashioned,
Yeah. Whatever.
Like,
but
Whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
but
Okay.
but but again, that's the '70s and '80s sound,
We were talking earlier about we were saying Signo and Intocable. Some people did like I have a good friend that says Michael Salgado is not Tejano. I'm going. I consider him Tejano. And one of the things I've said before is I think Tejano has lots of flavors. Just
For
like
sure.
there's a Tejano country, a Tejano rock, a Tejano jazz, a Tejano mariachi, all that. Just like rock, soft rock, hard rock, metal rock, all that. So I think I'm not a purist. I just know what I like, and if it can dance or it sing, it has a good message and it has a good melody. Like some people don't think Frontera is Tejano. I do. As a matter of fact, I think I was telling you just when you logged on, I was watching
Well,
Shakira and
it's
Grupo Frontera on a
Mhm.
new
well.
video.
Let me kind of flip that a bit.
Okay.
From somebody that lives off of music, and I depend on those supporters that go to the performances, people that hire us, stuff like that. That sounds very cool what you're saying in in
Okay.
a in a perfect world, but by the same token, people that consider the Intocables or Michaels or Signos, or they get played on radio stations that they won't play us. Why?
That's
Because
true.
we're not them.
You're
We're
right.
not, we don't have the bajo sexto and the chord. So I can accept when somebody doesn't accept me for our music. Why can't you accept when I don't accept a certain band or certain style to be considered Tejano?
Right.
Why
I
isn't I always say Mexican radio? Man, they came back for the Alamo, bro. They came back to Texas and they just bought out FM stations, and
Oh yeah, they are. I mean,
Bob Sharp and
yeah.
Kiss My,
we have
you
about
know,
8 here in DFW.
That's
and
true.
so Mexican radio won't. We have cumbias. How come real Mexicanos in Monterrey, Regios, they play our music?
Yeah,
Yes.
Why doesn't Texas Mexican radio play our music?
I,
You know.
I see your point, but you know, I
Now
do see
that's
your point.
that's just one opinion. You
Right.
know.
I
yeah,
get it.
So I defend Tejano. Now, true, Tejano can be keyboard orientated. It can have horns. It can have, but I think when you start messing, uh, Tejano's not uh, categorized by tempos, but styles of music. I mean, when that tempo goes down to our Tejano rancheros are 100 to 104 or whatever beats a minute, and
Uh
you
huh.
go down to 88 beats a minute. I go, oh my God, to me that's not Tejano. There's just nothing that solidifies that backs that up from Chicano from the 60s, 70s, 80s to you know now music has to change.
Right.
Rock and roll isn't rock and roll anymore.
yeah,
It went to rock and alternative, but if Chicano changed to Tejano and Tejano has to change to something, well, again, I don't know what they're gonna call it, but I do have my opinions of
Yeah.
do I think Signo is Tejano? I think they have great music. They're gonna say it's Roteño, so you know there's a that word Roteño was used like in 2008 with a CD by Tocante, Jaime Jimenez Tocante, that was recording for us. There's a song written by the name Rocteño, written by Ernesto Cervera, which we own the publishing on it. But
Okay.
that word Rocteño was used since like 2007, 2008. But Signo put on a brand new flair to it, right?
Right.
Rocteño. And so, do I think they have great music? Of course. I
yeah,
think Jesse
absolutely.
Turner is a great artist, and
Hmm.
and Intocable, and one of my favorites that I hear a couple of songs is Duelo. I love to listen to some Duelo, right? But
Yeah.
I don't think they're Tejano.
And they come to the new West and stuff. So
Yes, and there's nothing wrong. As Tejanos, I play Tejano, and I love to hear George Strait.
yeah,
Right.
I like to hear Garth Brooks and Tracy Lawrence. I don't like a lot of the new stuff. It's just too rock for me or whatever, you know. But again, that's I have my opinion too. So, you know, you just gotta go with the flow. People that support you, and you gotta cater to them. And if that's what they like, then that's what we do. We make them dance. Tejano rancheras and cumbias and
and
some
that's
70s, 80s, sometimes some oldies,
Yeah.
But
And
but
I do enjoy
I
your
do have my. I'm sorry.
I do enjoy your definition of Tejano also. But like I said, there's little flavors here, and it takes. Sometimes the artist takes it off the off those beats and stuff like that. And we're all Tejano. We grew up with lots of different types of music, and
Well, if you're saying Tejano, that we're coming from the state of Texas and Spanish, Tejas and Tejano, then everybody's Tejano,
it's
But
true.
that's not true,
okay,
I mean, they there's some bands in Michigan and Colorado sound more Tejano than some bands from Texas, brother.
Yeah,
You know,
that's true.
Uh,
You're right.
it's true. It's true. But again, there's rock music in Russia.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know,
That's
so
true.
And Japan.
All right. All
yes,
right.
yes.
Let's I know Nemo's got getting tired, so let me do a couple. Oh wait, here Mart says, "I'll give Buddy a pass for one story. He was on his best behavior today." Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mart.
Normally, he always switches the show back to him.
Yeah, okay. I
That's what
tried
he's
that.
talking about.
All right. And TDK says, "The Gary effect is Luis AG and Emmanuel J." Oh, okay.
Do you know? Do you know those artists? Are they artists?
I know
Emmanuel?
Emmanuel J.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
Young Gun. I think he's very good.
Yeah, I saw him at Vegas Tejano. He was playing backup for Bobby
Yeah,
one
I
point.
Really?
love to talk to him every little once in a while that I get. When we do catch up, I think he's got a lot of heart for it, but he's got a lot of skills. He's got a lot of talent. He's
Are
gonna
you
be
talking about
brushing
Bobby
that.
or Emmanuel J?
I was talking about Emmanuel J.
Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, and then Bobby from California. He says, "Hello from California, everyone. Gary, you're still the great singer and performer. Thanks for all the great music
40
throughout the
years,
years."
man. That's incredible. That
Yeah.
says a
Thank you,
lot.
brother.
Oh my goodness. It's just
No,
and and again, I don't think you've changed very much. I mean, I had a friend of mine that showed me a picture with you and them. You just took a picture and now they look old and you still like you still look the same. It's just like I don't. You did real good and as far as that, as far as being able to.
Class never
Yeah,
changes.
yeah, absolutely.
right. Thank you
Yes.
so much. I appreciate that. But I'm high maintenance. My wife will get ready for a performance in about 35, 45 minutes. I need about an hour and a half. I just,
Nothing wrong
but
with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Okay. Well, I can't get to everybody else, but I want to thank you for being on here. We would love to have you back and uh, closer probably in November, so we could talk about the
The cruise.
how how often if someone wants to book a cruise, I know they could probably book it now, right?
yes, it's just like booking hotels and air flights. The closer you come to the date, well, it starts getting more expensive.
Expensive. Okay.
You know, but the way that we're doing it, if you just give me 30 seconds, but
Sure.
on these Gary Hobbs cruises, we used to go through a travel agent the first 4 or 5, and now we're not working with the travel agent. But what we're encouraging everybody to do is you can book your cabin by calling direct Royal Caribbean or doing it online. And once you do that, then you would get a hold of us. Uh, all our social media has some push cards and promos on the Gary Hobbs Bahamas cruise, and
Okay.
then they would be buying the ticket, the events ticket, which is something that was included before on the cabins, but it's always been the same price. And if I told you that the price is 375 per person, there's 6 events, stuff like that that we do several dances,
Deal.
meet and greet, 70s, 80s, and there's just go check out the other cruises and look at their ticket prices.
Oh yeah. And
Can people put them in layaway?
Yeah, they can pay off the tickets in installments. They have till August.
okay. Uh, and you have a fourth season for Hanging with Gary. When does that start?
Hanging with Gary is all about Gary, but
Yeah, just like this.
there's just we I don't think I could ever do the work that y'all do and some of the other podcasters. They you know I it's not that I don't get personal with people. It's just that there's so much story in my 40 years that never got out. Good stuff, and even some mishaps. We reminisce on things on different segments, but hanging with Gary is has been audio for 3 seasons, and we've been wanting to go to video, and I keep putting it off with our my partner in crime and the producer Johnny Davila, Johnny D, and I tell him no, let me lose a little bit more pounds because one thing is this picture right here, but the mid-ridge thing's got to go, and so there's 4 of us on the podcast, Johnny D and Little D, David Villanueva, and mi compadre Jaime Samago, who's our bass player and vocalist, and mi compadre also produces my vocals on our recordings. But so the 4 of us, we powwow, the thing is that when you're doing audio, it's pretty cool because you're cutting away, but we're really doing everything on the fly.
Right.
We're not, and so but when we go live, like what y'all do, that's a little bit more concentrated in my personal opinion, because if you don't have notes or something like that, to do it on the fly
It's
is
hard.
it's something that we're gonna have to get used to when we start doing it. But hanging with Gary is coming up on season number 4, and we were doing audios for 48 minutes and 44 minutes, and we looked at the analytics, and we're losing people at 35 minutes
Oh,
and stuff like
yeah.
that. But it's because everybody loves to see the video, including me. You
Yeah.
know, I wasn't into podcast at all. Johnny D has been telling me about podcasts for about 10 years, and he finally convinced me to do an audio, but it was more like right after COVID, and I thought, well, now is a good time to try and experiment with this, right? But we congrats on your show, because
Thank you.
a lot of people think it's easier said than done.
Well,
But man,
is that why you said, have you done this before at the beginning of the show?
we were we were lag the sound was
thank,
lagging.
thank you
Do
very
y'all
much.
know what y'all are doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
All right.
but thank you for
But
that compliment.
I think you should do a video because you could do something like what we do, and we could have mistakes and stuff, and you could just take it down, edit it to make it the way you want to, and then put it out there.
I think your whole show should be on you trying to lose weight.
Yeah, yeah.
You should start with.
You don't need to lose weight. You're just saying that
No,
because
but he wants to. I'm just saying.
we
I think
all
that would be a
want
great.
to.
Yeah, put on that trash bag and go run and stuff. And
You know
just
what?
saying.
Okay, so I did get
You saw
recognized at
Rocky, didn't you?
I did get recognized at Fed Fair, and some people were saying, "I thought you were taller, buddy," and I think that was Coda said, "I thought you were skinnier" or something like that. You were, because I know I needed to lose a lot of weight, but
I get all of the above many times. You know what? I've had that. I didn't think you were that tall. You know, and then some people say, I thought you were taller. Yes.
okay, I am going to tell one story. At Vegas Tejano, I was in the elevator with Joanna Ray, and I was talking to her, and then I backed up, and then I said, "Excuse me," and I go, "Gary." I was going. I was standing right next to you in the elevator, and I said, "Oh my God, it's Gary Hobbs here." And so, but you are tall. I mean,
Do you
so
remember that?
no, of course he doesn't remember that. He probably bumps into people all the time.
You, no, that in Vegas one time, and I don't know where I remember this, but I do. But Jennifer Pena was at her first Vegas showcase.
Okay.
Uh, you know, it was. I know they changed the name. Now it's Vegas
Tejano
Tejano
takeover.
Takeover. But when it used
Yeah.
to be the showcase or the convention, and Jennifer Pena was there, and I was going up to my room, and I got into the elevator, and Jennifer was going down, and it was just her, and I thought to myself, that's Jennifer Pena, that little girl from Selena,
Yeah.
and she told me, I know who you are, and I go, I know who you are,
and
and we left it at that,
that was the end of the conversation.
and
Okay.
I remember that like you know, and I don't remember it 2 weeks ago, and
Welcome
but
to the
that happened
club.
to me,
Welcome to the
the
club.
elevators in Vegas.
All right. Well, I had a wonderful time,
Yeah,
and the chat's still going. But
yeah.
like I said, we're already 8:20. Nemo's
No.
got to go to bed and stuff like that.
Well, my dogs, you
Yeah.
hear them in the background.
Yeah. And I put my daughter to bed at 8:30. So I want again thank you for being on Tejano
Yeah.
Time, Tejano Talk. It was great. We'll definitely have to have you back. Please.
Thank you so much, buddy
I,
and Nemo. Thank you for having me, and y'all have continued success, and thank you for what you do for Tejano music. Anything that's good for Tejano music is great for us, and that's what we continue to promote and put out there, Tejano music.
okay. Oh, social media. You're under Gary Hobbs official on most social media platforms.
Yeah, Facebook, Twitter, which is X now, Instagram. I'm trying to learn. I never did TikTok or TalkTik. I do
That's
some
hard.
TikToks from
Yeah.
once in a while, TikToks,
Yeah.
I haven't learned how to do the TikTok thing, and I think I started to put a profile. I don't even know how to put a profile picture on it, and so I know there's something there now, but I gotta get somebody I probably have to get one of my grandchildren to help
Yeah,
me.
for
You
sure.
know,
I need
to do
someone to
that
help me too.
TikTok.
Whenever you find him, ask him to help Buddy because he doesn't got it either. We've been trying to get on
I
TikTok since day one on this show.
And of course,
well,
GaryHobbs.com
yes.
and our GaryHobbsCruise.com is up there too, website.
All right.
Okay, perfect.
Well,
Thank you so
thanks
much.
again. It was wonderful having
It
you.
was, it
And
was an honor.
I owe
Thank you,
Mark. For,
buddy. Thank you, Nemo. God bless y'all.
all
God
right,
bless
thanks.
you.
I appreciate it. Bye. I love that show. This is probably my favorite show that we've ever done. By far.
Yeah, it's surreal.
Yes. I'm so glad that I didn't screw up much on this. But yeah, this is one to put a big memory that I'm going to
Yeah.
have on this one.
This one I give you kudos, man. How'd you book them? I have no idea what you had to pay or who
I
you
have a
had to do
connect.
whatever.
I
to
have a
book 'em.
connect.
Yeah, that
Mark
was good.
from Freddie
You
Records
tell your connect. I
hooking
appreciate
me
it.
up. Okay, wait till
Oh,
you see
Mark.
who else we
Thank you,
have.
Mark.
All right. Okay.
Shut up. I mean, you can't get any bigger.
Well, that's true, but we've got some legends
Okay.
coming, some more.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that we had Gary.
Who do we have next
I'm
week?
your host, Oraldo.
Next week.
For
Who do we have
It's-
next week? Next week.
I'm not going to tell you. Well, we have Mean Mouty, right? I think it's
Thank
Mean
you.
Mouty.
It's the three of them, right?
Yeah, I haven't contacted him, so hey, why don't you reach out to him? Mean Mouty? Okay, I will, because he's got a concert he's promoting.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
All right, I'm
Spring
your host, Oraldo, for It's Tejano Time,
And I'm Nemo with Tejano USA.
and you've been listening and watching Tejano Talk. Hey, Nemo, you need someone to watch your dogs. Okay? or something. Or
In broadcast.
okay, wait. And I want to apologize that we didn't get to all the chats because it's still going on right now. So next time, hopefully. All right? Thanks. I'll see you next week. All right. And broadcast. Bye.